Hello folks, I'm here today at the UK media launch of the new VW Tayron. It is called Tayron and not Tayron, in case you were wondering. I've been calling it the wrong thing for several weeks now. This is the second largest SUV in the VW range, sits just underneath the Touareg, but it's only a fraction smaller than the Touareg. It's about 4.8 metres long, not far off that anyway. It's got petrol, diesel, plug-in hybrid options. The petrol, you know, you're looking at a very familiar range of engines, but you can also get that mated to the plug-in hybrid, as I said. That plug-in hybrid can give you an all-electric range of 75 miles WLTP, which is pretty impressive, especially for a car of this size. But it does mean you don't have the option for a third row of seats, which I've got in this one. That's right, this is a 7-seater. It's also very spacious in the back, but we'll have a look at that more in a second. They've gone for a premium approach to this. So this car's got a lot of things as standard that you probably wouldn't usually see in a car in its class. So we have got things like acoustic glazing, HID LED headlights. These have got over 19,000 multi-pixel LEDs in them, so they should light up the road nicely and blind other road users. But yeah, they've certainly gone above and beyond what you would usually expect for a car in this class when it comes to spec. Let's have a look at the interior and we'll check out the different rows of seating, and then I'll take it out for a spin and give you my initial thoughts. This will only be a first impressions video. I've only got the car for a couple of hours, so I'm not going to do a full review for you, but hopefully it'll give you an idea of if the car's for you or not. By the way, good news for towing fans. If you go for the 2-litre diesel, you can tow up to 2.5 tonne with this, so it should be good for caravanners, boaters, etc. Anyway, let's crack on. Okay folks, so just looking at my initial impressions of this car. This is the 1.5 litre with the automatic gearbox. And I mean, as far as the drivetrain goes, this is tried and tested stuff from VW. It's available in a lot of the range. It never really disappoints. You know, you can get cars that have got a bit more get up and go. You have got cars out there that will perhaps be more capable in certain situations, but this engine and gearbox are so perfectly mated, and for, I would say, 90% of people, it's going to do the job perfectly well, and you don't really need to look beyond it. However, if you want to tow, obviously that diesel's a good option, and if you are still doing mega mileage, then perhaps consider having a look at the diesel options. I haven't driven the plug-in hybrid today, but that could still be popular with company car users. The fact that it's got a really good all-electric range on the WLTP scale means that the CO2 figures won't be quite as horrendous as they otherwise would be, which means, you know, for the next couple of years, certainly your company car tax should be tolerable. But you know, it's quite a price hike if you're a private buyer. The price is an interesting thing as well, because the Tayron starts at just over 40 grand, 130 quid over actually, £40,130. That seems like an odd move in a country where we've now got a luxury vehicle tax, which is basically on any car with a list price over 40 grand. If they'd have knocked it down by 131 quid, the few people that get an entry-level one, and there will be very few that get an entry-level, admittedly, but they'd be able to save out on a very hefty chunk of change every year. So that seems like a slightly strange pricing decision, but otherwise I think they're fairly well priced. A lot of people will be saying it's a ridiculous amount of money to pay for a car, but by modern standards, you know, modern new car standards, 40 grand is a fairly run-of-the-mill price these days. That's just the way of the world, folks. You know, you can spend 35 grand on a Ford Puma. I know this because I had one on the drive last week, and it's not difficult to do. So for the amount of car you're getting for your 40 grand here, it seems like reasonable value, particularly given the premium feel. I've digressed massively, as I always do. The road manners of the car are very good. It's really nice and comfortable. You will feel bumps and things. So in terms of the way the car drives, it's really nice. The engine and gearbox are tried and tested in VW Group cars, and it should be no surprise that this 1.5 litre with the DSG automatic gearbox play very, very nicely together. They never disappoint in my view, and I think it's the sweet spot of the range, I have to say. Obviously, if you were going to be doing mega mileage, or perhaps you want to tow a caravan, boat, etc., then you'd be looking at the diesel. But obviously diesel buyers are not few and far between, but they're in nowhere near the numbers that they were a couple of years ago. So I don't imagine they'll sell thousands of them in diesel form, but I think this will be a very popular combo, because for most people it will do the job perfectly, and really it's all that most people actually need. 150 PS of power, 0 to 62 times perfectly acceptable in a large SUV like this, and you're not going to be ragging this around B roads. You know, you can get some slightly spicier versions of the car, but to me this fits the car very, very well. That premium feel of the interior, the premium look and feel, extends to the drive. It does feel like a lovely thing. You get very little traffic noise. You do get some tyre rumble, but I think the acoustic glazing really helps to cut out that traffic noise. And it also improves the sound coming through the audio system. I've just had the radio on, and even with HGVs going past, it's still really clear. You're not having to crank the volume up to sort of kill the road noise outside. And all in all, it feels like a premium product. And I think that perceived quality is very important in a car, particularly one with a VW badge on it. And we've got perceived quality here in spades, actually. The ride comfort's good. It's a wee bit firm over the really rough stuff, but when you're just cruising along in this car, it's very comfortable. And these ergonomic seats are exactly that. They feel amazing. I mean, I've got lumps and bumps in all the wrong places, but they still manage to grip me in all the right places. So very impressed with the comfort generally in this. I should also give a very sterling tip of the hat to the driver information display, or the virtual cockpit. It's hugely customizable. It's nice and big and bright and bold. You don't find yourself like, where's the speed? Where's this? Where's that? You know, you can really sort of change things to adapt to your liking. But I think the quality of the screen itself, and really a fantastic overall sort of aesthetic design, means it just works perfectly well. You've also got a head-up display in this one, so there's no need to take your eyes off the road to sort of find out the basics. There's really stiff competition in the family SUV market. It's such a huge part of the UK car market that really manufacturers have to sort of puff their chest out a bit and try and stand above some of their competition. And I think VW have managed to achieve that with this. Obviously, I've had the car for a very short period of time, but I'm immediately impressed with it. And I think even if you look at competition from within the VW group, this feels like it stands out from the pack a little bit. I'm a fan. Actually, let me give you one thing that I would find frustrating, possibly. Although we've got voice commands that actually work really well, and you've got ChatGPT built in as well. That's the fact that you've still got slideys for the volume and the climate control, and some of the climate control stuff is based on the screen rather than physical buttons. That's true in the lion's share of new cars. That's not something that's a particular VW issue, or something sort of unique to this car in any way. And I'm 47 years old. You know, maybe I'm just too old for 2025. I don't know. But if I had to pick a flaw, it's that at the moment. The way it drives is great. The performance is perfect for the kind of car we've got. It's got acres of space. The perceived quality is phenomenal. It's just a great car. Okay folks, so boot space is a real win in this car. We've got 345 litres of boot space with all the seats up. If we pop those down, the third row, we've got 850 litres. And if you put all the seats down, you've got over 1900 litres of boot space. There's also a really natty little solution under here which stows away the load cover and gives you a bit of extra storage. And the whole boot space feels really well thought out. It's been designed with a user in mind rather than just a mood board. Okay, so the version of the car I've got today is the 1.5 litre petrol with the DSG gearbox, of course. This one is R-line trim, and getting into this feels immediately very, very premium. There's a really nice choice of materials that have been used. We've got some nice touchy-feely stuff in all the important places. And it's only really when you get to the bottom of the door cards that the plastic gets a bit plasticky. I've got this huge infotainment screen. There are two options available, a 12.9 inch and a 15 inch. We still have slidey things up here for the climate control and the volume, but they are now backlit. And on the steering wheel, we've got physical buttons instead of haptics. You know, VW listened to a lot of customer feedback and have moved away from the haptics and back to physical buttons. And they're such lovely buttons as well. It really does feel great. I've actually got a press car in at the moment, which has got haptics on the steering wheel, and they do frustrate a little bit. And it's just so much better when manufacturers use proper buttons. So hats off to VW for listening to their customer base. Elsewhere in here, we've got things like a wireless charging pad down here, which is great. So it actually hides your phone away a little bit. So if you do leave the car and forget your phone's in it, which is still possible in this day and age, it's at least out of sight. There's also a little shelf here, which is ideal for putting things like your car keys. And we've got a USB extender here. The ports for the USBs are also tucked away beneath this little shelf. And that's a really nice bit of design that's got function as well as actually hiding everything away and looking quite good. Down here, we've got this dial which allows you to swap between drive modes and atmospheres. That's right, you can change the atmosphere within the cabin, which is pretty impressive. Really cool double cup holder down here. I don't know if you can get a cool cup holder, but if you can, this is it. You can take that out and just have it as a tray if you want, or indeed put it back in place. And then we've got quite a useful cubby along there. The infotainment system, I'm not going to dive into in any great depth because I've got the car for a limited amount of time. If at some point I get the car in for a full review, I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive in that for you. This one's also got heated seats and indeed a heated steering wheel. We've got these new ergonomic seats. You might also see some lovely lighting, ambient lighting in the cabin. They've made some little tweaks to this that make it feel really quite special. And that's something that is welcomed in VW, because for a period of time that special feeling went away from VW. It felt like there was a bit of cost cutting going on, and I think the new management team in place at VW, certainly the man at the top of the tree, really wants VW to have a special feeling again, and I think they've achieved it in this car. It really does feel nice up here, very nice. Okay, so in the rear cabin, we're in the second row of seats. This one's obviously got a third row as well. It just feels so spacious in here. You could easily get 3 adults in here. There is quite a big transmission tunnel, but you could still plant an adult pair of cheeks in the middle here, and you've got enough foot room to play with. So I think 3 adults on a decent journey, not going to be a problem. For only 2 of you in here, you've got this lovely big armrest, and look at that. That's a piece of kit, isn't it? You've also got 2 USB-Cs down here, climate controls for the rear seat passengers. You can also get a winter pack that allows you to have heated rear seats, and all the cars come with sun blinds built in, which is a really nice touch, especially if you've got young kids. Let's move into the third row and see if it's suitable for a fat old bloke like me. This is a very difficult thing to film on your own, but here I am anyway. I managed to get in without too much grace, but not too badly. I mean, I've had some terrible moments getting in and out of 7-seat SUVs in the past, and I've done this one unscathed. Let's bring the seat back. Now, this is undoubtedly the worst bit of footage you've ever seen in a car review video, but I've got this second row seat slightly further forward than I would normally have, and I've actually got decent leg room. I wouldn't want to be in here for a long journey, that's for sure. But I also haven't got my knees up around my ear holes. But for young kids, It'd be absolutely fantastic in here. There we go. Let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, folks, so just my first impressions with this. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. It will undoubtedly be a big seller in the UK. VW's still the leading brand really in the UK in terms of car sales, and big SUVs do well for them. The 7-seat options also great, and of course you've got a choice of petrol, diesel, plug-in hybrid. No full battery electric version, but everyone else is well catered for. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to look at the lease prices on one of these at the moment, click my link to Lease Loco in the video description. It does help support the channel, and that's a good thing. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and come back for more very honest car reviews and first impression review things. See you next time. Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.